right now on 5 on Your Side at 10.
A warm start to February. Why Thursday is the pick day of the next 10 and the part of the bi-state region that is more likely to see rain this weekend.
St. Louis children continue to fall victim to gun violence.
Talking about it is one thing, but doing something about it is another thing.
Tonight, the group of local students now pushing for change. Our top story, surveilling St. Louis neighborhoods. A business owner says he's ready to put drones in the air.
We want to be a good citizen of St. Louis.
His message to those who say, not over our backyards. Tonight, the owner of a private drone company says his drones will begin live streaming within the next 5 days. Good evening, I'm Mike Bush.
And I'm Kelly Jackson. Neighbors are against it, city leaders are against it, and yet the program is still moving forward. 5 on Your Side's Laura Barczewski talked with the company's owner for the first time on camera tonight. Laura.
Mike and Kelly, the founder of SMS Novel Films, tells me he's not looking to invade anyone's privacy, but neighbors and Alderwoman Alicia Sanye are still weary. Founder of SMS Novel Films, Jomo Johnson, says his company's live streaming drone service will start with just 3 hours a day in various areas of the city of St. Louis on February 5th.
I do hope maybe an implicit goal of what we do is that it can cause awareness that if you are a criminal or have criminal motives, that you are being watched, that there's a capacity that you may be recognized.
St. Louis residents say they're worried about their privacy. Johnson says he's not trying to look into your windows.
So residents can see that ultimately these drones are going to be operating so high, it's not going to be near a home, it's not going to be in a person's backyard, it's not going to be an invasion of privacy.
But residents organizing against SMS Novel say, quote, St. Louisans don't want his surveillance drones in the sky, period. We trust Mayor Jones' administration will ensure these drones never take off, and we're eager for the Public Safety Committee to hear and pass Board Bill 199 to create sensible regulations of commercial drone activities for our city. Alderwoman Alicia Sanye says they're putting the finishing touches on the bill regulating commercial drones in the city after meeting with FAA consultants. She says city park rangers already stopped SMS Novel from flying over Forest Park earlier this month.
So whenever you're on a park and you want to do activity within a park, that's one of the areas that is regulated, and you do have to get a permit for activities.
How will this data and video that's collected be used?
That's a great question. I appreciate you asking that. So for our drone stream TV, the data is not saved, nor is it shared, or nor is it sold. It's simply live streamed.
Alderwoman Sanye says the city will be monitoring what happens if or when the drone streaming program is launched and enforce the laws like permit requirements where they're able to. And you can watch the entire interview with the founder of SMS Novel on KSDK.com.
A former police officer in North County is now accused of sexually assaulting 19 men he arrested or detained. A federal grand jury returned a new indictment today against Marcellus Blackwell, who worked for the North County Police Cooperative. He now faces 36 charges. Federal authorities believe there could be more victims. The FBI has set up a hotline, the number 314-589-2682.
New tonight, a man is in jail accused of murdering his own father and leaving his body in a bathtub. Prosecutors have charged Christian Long with second-degree murder. While performing a welfare check, police found the body of George Long inside a home on Hunter Avenue in Beverly Hills. Police say Christian Long admitted to striking his dad several times and then trying to clean his body in the tub. St. Louis teenagers who see and hear about gun violence every day are now putting their heads together to do their part, and they're taking their ideas to the state capitol. 5 on Your Side's Brent Solomon is live downtown to explain. Brent.
Well, we first told you about this gun safety initiative a year and a half ago. Tonight, we're tracking their next steps. Area teenagers fighting back against the forces they face when they're not behind these four walls. When flashing lights and police tape go up, far too many St. Louis teens have seen it before.
It's like, you know, when people be saying, I have to do this to get out the trenches, you don't really have to do that. There's other ways to get out.
16-year-old Jalil Latchison attends Confluence Preparatory Academy downtown. He admits being familiar with the violence that plagues the community.
A bunch of people getting shot, all that stuff.
Do you feel like you've had some friends or people you met along the way that have kind of taken that path?
A lot.
So when a child can have or has an experience outside of school and they're able to come to school and express that and have a safe space to even to talk about it and to really talk about real solutions to help with how we might even resolve it, that speaks volumes.
Students here at Confluence Academies and at St. Louis Public Schools partnering with a gun safety initiative. Participants are called Ambassadors for Change. They've already distributed gun locks at school, and at a panel last May, they put their heads together to discuss how to do more.
And one of those ideas that was a really aha moment was really wanting to look into policy changing, looking how the policies that are created in the state of Missouri or even across the country affect them in their own communities.
Gun laws?
Gun laws, yes.
Now the ambassadors are preparing to take their message to Jefferson City to learn how to advocate for the changes they want.
Talking about it is one thing, but doing something about it is another thing.
School leaders also preparing to train students on how to become peer counselors of sorts, how to go into the classroom, speak to their own counterparts about steering clear of the violence. We're live in St. Louis tonight. Brent Solomon, 5 on your side.
A Bridgeton woman is dead after a crash that shut down Interstate 70 in St. Charles County for several hours today. It happened around noon near Wentzville. Police say a semi-driver hit a car while changing lanes. The passenger in the car, 61-year-old Christine Schneider, died. Just a few miles west from there, we have learned MoDOT has pumped the brakes on a long-awaited fix to a dangerous stretch of I-70. MoDOT confirms the project to fix the curve near Wentzville Parkway is on hold. Construction was supposed to start this spring. The work is now being added to the larger Improve I-70 project from Warrenton to Wentzville. MoDOT expects to award a contractor this fall.
Tonight, Missouri Congresswoman Cori Bush was on national television defending herself against allegations that she misused campaign funds on personal security. The St. Louis Democrat is now under a Justice Department investigation. Public campaign finance records show Bush's campaign spent at least $756,000 on security since late 2019, with $102,000 going to her husband, Courtney Merritt's. Speaking to MSNBC's Joy Reid tonight, Bush said her husband stepped in after previous security details became unreliable.
He was an air assault soldier in the 101st Airborne. He had already worked for other companies working security, even as a supervisor. So this was in his wheelhouse.
St. Louis Mayor Tashara Jones, a long political ally of Bush, came to her defense today, but stopped short of an endorsement for the Democratic primary.
Unless anybody knows what it's like to be an African-American woman in a powerful position and a single mom and have your life threatened on a daily basis, I support her providing security that she needs for herself and her family.
Bush is being challenged by St. Louis County Prosecutor Wesley Bell in the August primary. Mayor Jones says she has a process and will talk with both candidates in the near future. A week after warning employees that hours would be cut and layoffs were on the way, a Phelps County business owner says a social media post saved his business.
5 on your side's Holden Kerwicki traveled to St. James, Missouri to show us how the community is keeping the doors open at Country Bob's Diner.
Sitting halfway between St. Louis and Springfield on I-44, it's easy to find fast food in St. James. But it's a little more difficult if you want sit-down service.
We have the Country Cafe out by the golf course. We have Rich's Famous Burgers right there in the middle of town by the railroad tracks. And then you have Country Bob's Cafe.
Travis Holt bought Country Bob's Cafe in August of 2019.
I always wanted to do something with the community, and this allowed me to do that. And then 4 months later, COVID hit.
Despite the problems caused by the pandemic, he kept the doors open.
I wanted to make sure that all my people were taken care of. I didn't lay anybody off.
Holt says COVID cost him 50% of his business, but over the last year, a combination of road construction on the interstate and inflation took another bite out of his bottom line.
There was stuff that I had go up 300 or 400%. I mean, there was one time where I was paying $126 for a case of eggs, and I used to pay $11.
Struggling to make ends meet,
I was about to lose it all.
He posted an emotional plea on social media.
We don't have any business for breakfast. We don't have any business for lunch right now.
Right before I made that post, I told a couple people, you know, hey, just be prepared. I was already cut I told about 4 people that I was cutting their hours back.
The video quickly went viral, with multiple Phelps County businesses pledging portions of their proceeds to keep Country Bob's Diner afloat.
I woke up and just was in awe of the amount of support. And I was like, we are gonna be busy.
You ran out of food, right?
I ran out of food 3 days in a row. The bills that I was behind on are paid. To have that weight taken off of my shoulders when I've been carrying it for 4 years it's a blessing.
While Holt says he may never be able to appropriately thank everyone who helped save his business, he does plan to pay it forward by sponsoring a local Little League team, raising money for an all-inclusive playground in the city park, and of course, as always, kids are still able to eat free on Fridays. Reporting in St. James, Missouri, Holden Kerwicki, 5 on your side.
A public memorial is being planned for former U.S. Senator and Missouri First Lady Jean Carnahan. She died yesterday at the age of 90. She became the first woman to represent Missouri in the U.S. Senate in 2001 after being appointed to fill her husband's seat. Governor Mel Carnahan and their son Roger were killed in a plane crash 3 weeks before he won the election. Jean Carnahan will be buried next to her husband and son near Elsinore in a private ceremony. A public memorial will be held Saturday, February 10th at the Sheldon Concert Hall, and the family is asking for memorial contributions be made to the Carnahan Policy Institute.
The kids are not all right.
Would you like to apologize for what you've done to these good people?
A Missouri senator takes on the man behind Facebook. Tonight, the bipartisan push to make social media safer for children. A tipping point on tipping.
Everything has gotten more expensive, so how do we do that without being disrespectful?
Tonight, we're helping you make ends meet by knowing when to tip or skip.
Our next weather system is tipping more to the south, and that means the weekend rain chances may skip us. Our latest thought on Sunday's system in 7 minutes.
Harsh words on Capitol Hill today for the CEOs of Meta, TikTok, X, and other social media platforms.
I know you don't mean it to be so, but you have blood on your hands.
Their constant pursuit of engagement and profit over basic safety have all put our kids and grandkids at risk.
They faced bipartisan pressure in a Senate hearing room packed with family members who say their children were harmed by social media, from child exploitation to bullying to drugs. Missouri Senator Josh Hawley pressed Facebook founder Mark Zuckerberg to apologize for not protecting children.
There's families of victims here today. Have you apologized to the victims? Would you like to do so now? Well, they're here. You're on national television. Would you like now to apologize to the victims who have been harmed by your product? Show them the pictures. Would you like to apologize for what you've done to these
Zuckerberg did apologize. Democratic Chairman Dick Durbin called this a moment of reckoning and urged a vote on legislation.
Just hours ago, the U.S. House of Representatives passed a $78 billion tax package with bipartisan support. It includes an expansion of the child tax credit and breaks for businesses. The bill now heads to the Senate, where it will need 60 votes to pass. We'll likely have to wait months for interest rates to go down. The Federal Reserve announced today it is done raising rates for now, but not ready to cut as the central bank wrestles inflation to its 2% goal. There have been 11 increases since March 2022. Right now, it's above 5%.
Tipping fatigue is becoming more evident for the service industry. According to a company called Toast, tips have gone down as much as 30% this year.
As Michelle Lee reports, tipflation is part of the issue, but knowing when to tip could help yourself and others make ends meet.
It seems like we're being asked at every opportunity to tip these days, causing consumer burnout and something also known as tipflation.
I also think that COVID changed everything.
How so?
I think that during COVID, we were really trying to take care of people in those jobs that were taking care of us so that we could pick up carryout and we could go to restaurants, people that were working when other people had the ability to stay home. And so I think we really elevated our tipping amounts, and what we have found is people are like, how do I dial that back? The economy's different, right? Jobs are different, pay is different, right? Everything has gotten more expensive. So how do we do that without being disrespectful or not taking care of the people who serve us?
Melanie Broyles is the area's long-standing etiquette expert, the founder of Etiquette St. Louis, and she knows how much to tip.
I would say that I am generally a 20% tipper. I think 15% is still okay.
More importantly, she knows when to tip.
But what about like if you're just going to go pick up a coffee? Do you tip?
So this is the question of the year, really. This has been such a conversation this year. You do not have to feel like you must tip in a drive-through or a walk-up counter, or especially someplace where they're just handing you an empty cup and you're going to get your own drink.
In fact, Melanie says there's etiquette for just about everything. For example, car valet could be $3, $5, or even $10, depending on how far the workers have to park your car. Hotel cleaning depends on the length of your stay and also how messy you are, $5 to $20. Food delivery, that could be 10 to 20%, depending on the size of the order. But if you use a drive-up service, don't feel pressure to tip.
Those are not tipping situations. You would never tip an employee at Target for bringing something out of the back room. And so that's really what they're doing. They're bringing a bag to your car. In those circumstances, that's their job for the day.
So while tipping can be discretionary, remember, in the U.S., it is also part of someone's compensation.
Sometimes people will say, I had bad service, so I'm going to leave a small tip or just $1 or something to make a point. And I never encourage you to do that. Poor service, a long wait time might not be your server's fault. It might be the kitchen. It might be someone else. And so I always say, leave the standard tip.
For Making Ends Meet, Michelle Lee, 5 on Your Side.
5 on Your Side is home of the 2024 Olympics, and we're now less than 6 months away from the Paris Games. And tonight, officials are cutting the attendance estimates in half for the opening ceremony. Back in May, it was estimated 600,000 people would line the 3.7-mile parade route along the River Seine. Now that number is at 300,000. The ceremony will take place amid security concerns as France is on a high terrorism alert.
A special Olympic send-off is planned in St. Charles County tomorrow. Gerard Broadbrooks will compete in the U.S. Olympic team marathon trials this weekend in Florida, in Orlando. Only the top 3 runners qualify for Paris. Broadbrooks is the band director at Barnwell Middle School in Francis Howell. Students and fellow teachers will cheer the Eureka High School and Lindenwood University grad as he takes a victory lap around the building.
Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell joined us now with the Weather First forecast. He can go outside tomorrow, Scott, because it's going to be a beautiful day.
Yeah. The clouds are going to be tending to increase a little bit, kind of the reverse of what we had happen today. This is Florissant, where we saw the clouds break up early this morning. Our final day of January is in the books, and here's how things are stacking up for the month. First of all, the average temperatures. 32.1 is your average of the highs and lows for all of the month. That's typically what we would expect over a 30-year average. A little over 2.5 inches of rain and melted snow or ice, and about 5.5 or a little more inches of snow. This year, well, we ended up being just a hair below average. And when we say a hair, only 0.2 of a degree below average. We were much wetter than normal, and our snowfall almost on point. So snowfall temperature-wise, very close to what you would expect in the 30-year average, but that rainfall way up there. And that may come as a bit of a surprise to you because it was cold a couple of weeks ago. Coldest temperatures we've had in 10 years. 45 degrees right now. 55 was the high today. 39 was the low. Those numbers are way above average. We're starting above average tomorrow morning. Mainly clear skies overnight. We're dropping back into the 30s. There will be a little bit of a breeze. It's out of the south overnight. Turns to the southwest tomorrow. Pacific, West Coast, it is stormy right now. That's a monster storm out there in the Pacific. And while it is going to impact our weather, probably not the way most of us think, it will drive some clouds our way, but this system's going to take much more of a southern track, and it's not bringing any cold air to the bi-state region. Tomorrow, clouds will tend to increase across the area. During the morning, we start out in the 30s, but then in the afternoon, we're quickly bouncing above 60 degrees in St. Louis. Some of us may flirt with 70 tomorrow if there's enough sunshine. It's certainly possible. There is a little backdoor cool front sliding in, though. That could give us a couple of sprinkles as we head into tomorrow evening. And then as we head into the weekend, there's still a rain chance, but this is the American Ensemble models. West and south of St. Louis is where your better chances for some rain is as we go through the weekend. Not really in St. Louis. It's a pivoting point here that's out across southwestern portions of Missouri. So if you're going down to Springfield, Branson, Eureka, heading down towards Tulsa, Eureka Springs, I guess, down there in Arkansas, you're going to get wet. The Ozarks are going to get wet. St. Louis, we may not. It could stay to our south and southwest, and if we get enough sunshine, then maybe we're a little too cool on this 10-day forecast. What you are not seeing in these first 10 days of February is anything even remotely close to what would be a typical normal temperature, average temperature for this time of year, all way above average.
Yeah.
That'll change about the 15th to the 18th of February.
Really?
It's not over yet.
We'll
So
just
winter
leave you
is
there.
not over.
Yes, we'll leave it there for now.
All right.
Okay, Scott, thanks.
Sports is next.
Two things I didn't think were going to happen this winter: Craig Berube, a broadcaster, and Mizzou winless in the SEC. Those stories next.
This 5 on Your Side Sports Report is sponsored by Telly Tire and Auto Centers, driving your way since 1942.
I don't care that Mizzou basketball lost 2 pro players last season. You just won 25, your recruiting class was solid, and the belief in Coach Gates was enormous. Nobody thought you'd go 0-8 to begin the SEC. And tonight, they made Eric Musselman's Arkansas Hogs look like Jerry Tarkanian's UNLV teams. Eli Drinkwitz beat Arkansas this year by 34 points. This is a great play by Tremont Mark of the Hogs after the steal, the spin move, and the dunk. Arkansas came in undermanned also, yet they made it look so easy. Keon Minifield, the dime to Makai Mitchell. Coach Gates down 19 at halftime. Tamar Bates had another big night for Mizzou with 29 points, but the Tigers go to 0-8 in the SEC final, 91-84. Speaking of Mizzou, every true Tiger and Schnucks have come out with a new delicacy. Take a look at the black and gold cookies and cream ice cream. 4 different Tigers from 4 different sports are on the tub. Previously, the company has produced potato chips and pizzas.
We really wanted to highlight a number of different sports, and that's really part of the program is to, Mizzou's obviously had a great football season, but we've also had a great gymnastics season going on now. Wrestling is top 5. So we wanted to highlight a number of different sports and kind of showcase the athletes off the field.
This 5 on Your Side St. Louis City SC coverage is sponsored by Together Credit Union.
Doesn't it seem like the off-season for City SC lasted like 12 hours? I mean, they've already played a scrimmage in Port St. Lucie. Soon they're going to California. The NHL's All-Star break feels like it's longer. City has been busy too. They extended Bradley Carnell's contract till 2025. Now the roster looks complete to start the 2024 campaign, or is it? The late departure of Nico Gioacchini may have thrown a wrench into City's plans at the striker position for next year. While they still have Klaus and Sam Adeniran on the roster, here's how the boss is looking at another possible addition on offense.
If you go shopping and you look for something special for a wedding, if you find the perfect thing you really like, that's the thing you have to get. If you see something which is okay, I maybe wear it once or twice, but I'm not so convinced, stay away from it, Matt. And I think that's the way we're approaching exactly at the moment the striker market.
Love that. Only buy the best. That's what Kelly Jackson does. The NFL only drafts the best, and they're scouting Mizzou players at the Senior Bowl in Mobile this week. Scouts of NFL teams like this game because seeing best on best helps in evaluating talent. And Mizzou could hear a lot of their names called. All-American Darius Robinson standing out. Fellow All-American Javon Foster has turned some eyes. And Cody Schrader is not a secret anymore. One scout said he loves his determination.
Get to the bench, and he looks at me and goes, I'm not even sure why you're out there. I'm going to talk to the coach about that.
Craig Berube has a new job, at least for now. The former Blues coach was in studio tonight for TNT. He was glib, insightful. He even chatted with his former captain, Ryan O'Reilly of the Predators. I got to tell you, He did well, but he's not going to last at that job because some team's going to grab him. He's going to be coaching next season.
Yeah, for
think
sure.
so?
He's too
He
good.
did win a Stanley Cup.
Yes, absolutely.
He looks very comfortable there, though.
He did.
All right, coming up, breaking up on Valentine's Day. The sweet shop making it the way the cookie crumbles.
Attention Schnucks shoppers. A big change goes into effect tomorrow. Self-checkout lanes will be limited to 10 items or less. Up until now, you could have 20 items. Schnucks says the move will keep the lines moving and cut down on theft. A big bargain for book lovers tomorrow. The Jewish Community Center Winter Used Book Sale in Creve Coeur wraps up tomorrow with Bag Day. So for $5 per bag, you can fill them up with books, books on tape, CDs, and DVDs. Bag Day will run from 10 until 7.
Valentine's Day is 2 weeks from today, and one cookie company is offering a sweet solution if your relationship has soured. Insomnia Cookies is taking orders for breakup boxes. The box of 12 cookies includes a handwritten note. It can say, "It's not me, it's you." Or, "You're sweet, but not my flavor." And finally, I have the hots for your roommate. Or, "We're done. Have a nice life."
I like that.
Little harsh.
Pretty good. There you have it. 5 on your side at 10. The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon is next.
Be sure to start your day with Today in St. Louis, and that starts at 4 a.m. Have a great tomorrow.
It's not me, it's you.